Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of May 4th, 2021 for the City of Calabasas Environmental Commission meeting. This meeting is being conducted utilizing teleconferencing, and you can listen to it on the city's CTV Channel 3 or online at cityofcalabasas.com. So I will call to order this meeting. I will say your name, and if you're here, please say present. J.C. Schillen.
Present.
Marlene Stewart.
Present.
Susan Fredericks-Ploussard. I see you here. Did you guys hear
Present.
her? Okay.
Present.
Okay. Whitney Schwartz.
Present.
Zachary Rossoff.
Present.
Jessica Cohen.
Present.
Okay, we're all here. So we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Zachary, do you want to lead us in that?
Sure.
Everybody please stand up.
All right, please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Zachary. And an approval of our agenda. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda for today, May 4th. Can someone make a motion?
I second.
I approve today's agenda.
Okay, so moved. And on to the approval of the minutes from February 2nd, 2021. I'd like to make a motion to approve those minutes.
I approve those minutes.
Do we need a second, Alex, right?
We need a second and we need to take a vote.
Okay,
We can do a roll call to take the vote.
okay.
I will second them.
Thank you, JC. Okay, all in favor. I guess we can do a roll call. So,
Can call everybody's name to just say
Yeah.
yes or no.
okay. Whitney Schwartz. You approve it?
I approve.
Okay, Zachary. Oh no, Susan Fredericks-Ploussard.
I approve.
Okay, and Marlene Stewart.
Yay.
Yay. And JC Schillen. Do you approve? I think you're frozen. But we should move on, even though she's frozen. We'll come back to her later. All right, so that's 3 in favor of that. Would you like me to go back to the approval of the agenda, Alex? I realized I didn't do that.
Yes, we need a motion to approve.
Okay,
that.
so let's rewind a little. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda of this meeting.
I approve.
Second
I
it.
second it.
Thank you. Okay, how about, I'll do another roll call. JC, do you approve tonight's agenda?
Yes.
All right, Marlene, do you?
Yay.
Susan, do you?
Yes.
Thank you. Whitney, do you?
I do.
Great, good. Sorry, I forgot that for the first one. All right, on to our mission statement. JC, would you like to read that?
I do not have it in front of me, so.
Don't worry, no problem. Susan, would you like to read it?
I don't have it in front of me either.
Okay.
I can read it.
What
Go
about
ahead.
you, Marlene? Or
I can read it.
Whitney, you'd like to? Go ahead.
The mission of the Environmental Commission of the City of Calabasas is to advise the City Council regarding the stewardship of the environment as it affects the character of the community and the quality of life of our residents. We strive to balance those elements that influence the degree to which our community sustains its social, economic, and physical environment while maintaining and enhancing our natural and cultural resources.
Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you, Beth.
All right, on to our oral communication and public comment. I see that someone has their hand up. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak, okay? So Isabel Schneider. You should be able to unmute and hi,
Hello.
welcome.
Well, happy to be here. Hello, everybody. I'm Isabel Snyder. I'm the president of a Blue Sky Foundation. We are up here at 26060 Mulholland Highway in Calabasas. And I work with Maggie, who will do the presentation and the PowerPoint. We are super happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us. We come to you with a really, really urgent wish to make a move on phasing out SOARs. SOARs, as you may be familiar, are the two-stroke combustion-powered small off-road engines like leaf blowers, chainsaws, grass mowers, hedge trimmers, and these engines used by landscaping companies, gardeners, and homeowners. So we are coming here to you to help make this transition happening and happening faster than we initially were hoping for. I have been a resident in Calabasas for 31 years, and I have seen really incredible changes. You probably know we had colder winters, we had frost. I would lose my bougainvilleas regularly, and we would have packs of coyotes coming through, they're gone. And we had raccoons that would steal our fruits, and they are mostly gone as well. So it has really severely changed. And so are the cold winters, they're gone. I think it's kind of a little pleasant, I must agree, not to have such cold winters, but the summers have just become unbelievable, like out of control. So we all know we are in a mega global climate crisis, and we need to do something, and we need to react fast. So that's why we are here, because we would like to move together with you and help and support you, support the city to make these changes happening. It taps into a dream I had a couple of weeks ago, where this huge fire came up to my house. We are up on Mulholland, we are in the hills, and it was one of those realistic dreams, and I was faced with this really fundamental fear of just losing everything. I think you all—
Sorry to interrupt you, Isabel, your time is over.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. And we look forward to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? There's a few attendees, so
Just to remind you, if anybody wants to speak on an item that is on the agenda, they have to wait until that agenda is up. At this time is public comments on items that is not on the agenda.
okay.
Now we can move on.
We will move on now. So starting formally on our agenda, that takes us to item number 1, which is commissioner comments. I know I have a few things I wanted to share, so I'll start and then I'll pass it on to each one of you to have some time to share. I wanted to update you on that B ordinance we've been working on. So I've been talking to Alicia, she's my representative on the city council, and we connected with Alex. And right now, Alex is working with the city attorney to finalize all those details, and then it's gonna be passed on to the city council. So it's like out of our commission at this point, but I'll keep you posted if anything happens. Perhaps we'll go to the city council meeting and present on it as well. And I also wanted to share my screen with you because there's a Facebook page that I thought I just wanted to spread some awareness about it. So it has a long name, but it's called Calabasas Parents, Youth and Neighbors for Climate and Environmental Protection. It's a nice group and anyone can join. They're really encouraging students to join as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And if you see it, maybe it will help you remember it, okay? And that's all I have to share today for my commissioner comment. Would anyone else like to go? You can just unmute and go. I think we're at that point. Susan, are you gonna?
The only thing that I was going to say is coming up on the agenda, but I'm really looking forward to the presentation tonight because I had no idea SOARs produce so much pollution.
Great. Anyone else? Any commissioners?
I'll just chime in and say that I was at the Earth Day celebration. I saw Zachary there and another of our commissioners. And it's always really great to have the community come together with Scouts and Girl Scouts. And there were residents who have lived here for 45, 50 years. And it's just one of my favorite times of the year to plant trees, pick up trash, and connect with like-minded residents. So if you don't do it next year. Cool. Thank you.
I think Alex has some pictures on that, right,
I want
Alex?
to share pictures of the event that Whitney just mentioned, so please bear with me. Okay. Can you see the
Yes,
slideshow?
it's great.
Okay. So I'm just showing a few pictures of the Arbor Day 2021 Arbor Day celebration and creek cleanup that happened on the April 24th and 25th. These are just some images I received from the media department for the Arbor Day. As you can see in the image, volunteers planted 70 oak trees in place of the ones that were either dead or burned during the fire. And this was a great event. On the image on the right, you can see the dead trees that were removed and was planted and was replaced by a new 2-gallon oak tree. We had 2 banners posted. The City of Calabasas is celebrating 22 years as Tree City, USA. And this is our 22nd year. As you can see in this picture on the slope, a few volunteers and Mayor Bozajian is digging and planting trees. We had another council member, Peter, I forgot his last name, with his wife planting trees on the slope right behind the Steeplechase Homeowners Association. And a few Girl Scouts that this is the 3rd year that they participated in the Arbor Day celebration and planted a few trees. This is the official ceremony on the right-hand side when the council members jointly planted a tree and celebrated the Arbor Day celebration together. So these are just some images of our council members and a group pictures with some of the volunteers, especially the Mayor's Youth Council that initiated this activity. Thank you to every one of them. This is the second day on the Sunday, April 25th, that we had an orientation in the beginning, and I showed everyone where they had to go. We kind of created 4 segments or 4 sectors within the creek that each group of volunteers had to go and take care of one sector. We had the gloves and masks and trash bags available and some booths, rubber booths that everybody used. As you can see, Mayor Bozajian and some volunteers went out and they found chairs and a sofa bed along the creek, a lot of stuff that don't belong to the creek, a lot of scrap metal. As you can see, Commissioner Elginor and her kids also found other items that didn't belong to the creek. These are just some other images that they pulled out of the creek, and they also received at the end, all the big items, the significant items were displayed, and 2 winners were selected by council members, and each one received a $25 gift certificate at the end of the event. And these are the bags that everybody pulled out from the creek. Not all of them. Some of them were left on the trail. These are just some that were brought to the site. And this was the image that was printed in Calabasas Enterprise last Friday. And this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Alex. So Zachary helped plan those events, correct, Zachary?
Yeah, the Mayor's Youth Council, we helped organize it as part of like the environmental subcommittee. And I thought it was great. We got a huge turnout and a lot of stuff planted and a lot of stuff picked up. So really good job. And thanks for everybody who came.
Great. All right, any other commissioner comments? Please go.
Can I just say one more thing? City of Calabasas just received an award for the Malibu Hills Road Green Street project. This is an award presented by American Public Works Association. So we just received it a few days ago, and the City Council is going to receive this award officially in one of the future meetings. And a representative from American Public Works Association is going to present this award to the City Council. Right, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Alex. On to Marlene.
Oh, that's beautiful. I've been monitoring the amount of trash that appeared after our cleanup, and the cigarette butts and very small bits of colorful trash that birds can swallow. And I think everyone's seen all the gruesome pictures of birds with their stomachs cut open and all the trash they eat. So I'm starting a group. I'm just going to make a Facebook page called the Las Virgenes Creek Keepers. And there's creek keepers and river keeper groups all over the country. And specifically to start, I'm probably going to go out there once a week and pick up cigarette butts and small bits of colorful trash, like small pieces that a bird can swallow. And I've been taking pictures and dating them to show how much trash is being generated from the tech center. So I'm going to email everybody, and if you want to show up, you know, I'll let you know when I'm out there. It's probably going to be Sundays. And also all along Lost Hills, there's no way, like, there's so many new cigarette butts out there, just amazing. Because that's where everyone goes to smoke. So I'll let you know about the group, and I'll email you the page. And thank you very much.
Question, do you live in that area right there?
I live right next to the creek, yeah.
Because
And I'm really
there's
into
no
the birds.
I really like what you had to say, but I mean, there's no smoking in Calabasas.
Yeah, but I mean, are you gonna go arrest everyone that smokes a cigarette? Because there's a really lot of cigarette butts out there.
Well, that just seems, you know, I'm just surprised that there's a lot when that's not allowed.
Yeah, yes, exactly. My thoughts exactly. But
I don't think a lot of residents know.
I think they know, but if people that smoke cigarettes really need to smoke cigarettes, apparently. And to me, I don't know how they can enforce them. And also on my Facebook page, I'm probably gonna generate some those little personal ashtrays that you put in your pocket, and try to encourage people that if they must smoke, that at least they have a personal ashtray in their pocket and stick the butt in there. Because you know where the most butts were? All those cigarette poles behind the tech center that they put in that people are supposed to put the butts in. Apparently they think that it means to put the butts around the pole and just leave them on the ground. So I took some pictures, and I'll send you all the report. Am I allowed to do that, Alex?
You are. You can send them to me, and I will distribute to all commissioners.
Okay.
Just to remind you, smoking is allowed in Calabasas in commercial properties on designated areas. And Calabasas Tech Center has multiple smoking designated areas. And the area that Marlene is referring to are mostly around the designated smoking areas that people don't respect others and just throw their cigarette butts wherever they can. But there are ashtrays for this purpose that is meant to be for.
I mean, if that's affecting our creek, I think we have an issue with the people who manage the property of the tech center, and they have to take responsibility for their area's trash that's going into this beautiful creek that you created for our city. I mean,
that's why I'm documenting it. I'm going to document it with dates and photos of all the trash.
Really
and then
good.
I'm going to hand it into the city and then let them, you know, because I can't, you know.
That's a great project.
Yeah. So maybe I'll see you out there.
Thank you, Marlene, for sharing that. Yeah, I'll talk to you about that too. That sounds really good. All right, so then,
Can I make my
Stacy.
comment?
Yes, please.
Last one. I also went to the creek cleanup and I do live along the creek or adjacent to it. And it was really great to see so many people come out and participate. And there's a lot of trash that comes off of the main street, like here off Las Virgenes too. So it would be great to see us expand maybe that cleanup effort beyond the creek. Since we seem to have so many, interested parties. And I will just throw out that, and I don't want to get involved with what Marlene just said with what those people are doing at the tech center, but I will say that the placement of the cigarette stanchions where they're supposed to put their stuff out is so close to the brush that it has always been a concern to me that it has been placed in an area where a little puff of wind and my creek and behind my house goes up. So it's interesting that you bring that up. That might be another reason to move them away from the creek. And that's all I have to say about that.
That's an excellent point. I'm going to put that in there and then send it to you so you could see if you have anything to add.
Great, thank you, thank you. Okay, so that brings us to item number 2. So we have a guest speaker today. Maggie is here to introduce this presentation, and she'll introduce herself a little bit too. So welcome.
Thank you. Let me know if this works.
Maggie, you need to speak up. We can barely hear you.
Can you hear me?
A little bit better, but if you can speak louder, I would appreciate it.
Is this better?
It's good.
Yes? Here?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good. All right. So, hello all. My name is Maggie Neno, and I'm currently a junior attending Santa Monica High School. Working with a Blue Sky Foundation has given me an outlet to take action on environmental issues on a legislative level, and I hope to restore the health of our planet for my generation as well as those that come in the future. I'm here to express that we are in a crisis and need to take every measure we can to prevent more irreversible damage on our planet. The situation in Calabasas is unique. With the daytime weather ranging from 70 degrees all the way to the low hundreds, it makes the climate especially susceptible to getting hit harder by emissions through ozone buildup. On top of this, fire season hits extra hard in these areas due to its dry climate. Malibu, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, and Santa Barbara have implemented total ban ordinances on combustion-powered leaf blowers and other engines, and for good reason. So what are SOARs, or small off-road engines? Small off-road engines, or SOARs, which are used primarily in lawn and garden equipment, they emit high levels of air pollutants. Currently, California exceeds the US EPA and state standards for ozone in many areas, including the South Coast Air Basin, the San Francisco Bay Area, and the County of Sacramento. NOx also contributes to the formation of PM, which along with directly emitted PM has direct negative health impacts. PM also has an air quality standard set by the US EPA and the state. Many areas in California also currently fail to meet PM standards, including the South Coast Air Basin and the San Joaquin Valley Air Basin. So when you look on IQ Air, for example, at the air quality, it gives you some data showing what the main pollutant is when the air quality is bad. And during fire season and on days where the AQI is particularly bad, you can see that PM 2.5 is the #1 pollutant. And here are just some of the examples of the small off-road engines. So here's how these small off-road engines measure up to cars. In 2020, California daily NOx and ROG emissions from SOARs were higher than emissions from light-duty passenger cars. SOARs emitted an average of 16.8 tons per day and NOx and 125 tons per day of ROG. Without further regulatory action, these emission levels are expected to increase with increasing numbers of SOARs in California. Regulations of emissions from SOARs have not been as stringent as regulations of other engines, and 1 hour of operation of a commercial leaf blower can emit as much ROG plus NOx as driving 1,100 miles in a new passenger vehicle. So according to the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, the population of small off-road engines in California is 16.7 million, and that is greater than that of low duty passenger cars, which is 13.7 million, and is compromised. And that population is comprised 77% of residential lawn and garden equipment, 9% commercial lawn and garden equipment, 11% federally regulated construction / farming equipment, and 3% other equipment. And you can see that little pie chart here. So the residential population really is the issue here. And here's just another graph that shows the comparison between cars and stores. I won't say that we haven't done anything, but after over 50 years since the implementation of the Clean Air Act and 15 months of the COVID pandemic, record-breaking years of wildfires creating air pollution is simply intolerable. The impact these pollutants have on our health has become palpable for everybody. In 2019, air pollution indoors and outdoors is estimated to have contributed to approximately 7 million deaths worldwide. In Los Angeles, PM 2.5 air pollution is responsible for the loss of an estimated 2,600 lives this year since January 2021. And this study concluded at the end of March 2021, so I'm sure that number has increased. PM 2.5 air pollution has cost the city's economy approximately $6.2 billion to date this year, just in 2021. We are breathing in ozone, NOx, CO2, PM10, PM2.5, VOCs, SO2, lead, and CO on a day-to-day basis. NOx leads to respiratory infections and tempers water quality. Emphysema, chronic bronchitis, chronic asthma are caused by ozone. Pre-leukemia, aplastic anemia, and disruption of red blood cells and platelets. AML, anemia, infections, CML, and hemorrhage are all products of benzene. The thing each of these pollutants have in common is that they are released with the usage of combustion-powered engines. People who enjoy the outdoors can't even do so without caution anymore. Riding my bike up Mulholland and Piuma is always a gamble. Calabasas is especially so rich with wildlife. I just don't understand how we can continue to permit the destruction of the beautiful landscapes given to us. I really love riding my bike with my family. We're cyclists, and we love to go through the Calabasas hills, and it's really hard when the air quality is what is stopping us when we're on a climb or anything like that. And here is a chart showing the economic costs of environmental disasters. You can see here that it has only increased throughout the years. So here are the top 10 impacts of combustion powered stores, just summed up in a little photo. So we have emissions, we have all the health risks, the many that I just mentioned. We have noise pollution, which I will talk about a little bit later. We have the vibration from the machines themselves, the gas and oil that are byproducts of operating and just maintaining them, the toxic waste, the solid waste, the inefficiency, the maintenance, and the expenses. So who is most at risk here? When speaking on banning these machines, I don't want to leave out the operators. Their health is impacted more than anyone. As you can see, as I mentioned before, they are the ones who are closest, and they're the ones who are operating these machines. So I really want to make sure that if anything is done, they are protected. And here is another graph showing how noise pollution works. So hearing loss is permanent and irreversible, but 100% preventable. And one of the ways is by switching to these, making the switch to electric, because the electric small off-road engines and just electric engines in general run at a high frequency compared to the combustion powered engines, which run at a low frequency. And basically what that means is that the farther you move away from the low frequency ones, it will still be just as loud. And I'm sure you guys have all heard, just sitting in your house working, I'm sure I know I have, just hearing them, and they're pretty disruptive. So I can't imagine what being right next to them operating them is like. Here is a photo showing the solid and toxic waste streams that come from a single gas crew worker. As you can see here, there are 50 bottles here that include cans, tubes, and just different parts that end up going into landfills each year. And I know that trash is definitely a concern, so I wanted to include this as well. We are in this together. We have many resources and people supporting, such as the South Coast Air Quality Management District, companies such as AGSA, and the surrounding community. This transition will have a team behind it. And currently there are zero emission equivalents to all SOAR equipment regulated by the California State Air Resources Board. The battery technology required for commercial grade zero emission equipment is available, and many users, both commercial and residential, have already begun to make the switch to zero emission equipment. So here it's just a map of the 136 cities in 15 states and Canada that have enacted bans or restrictions on gas powered blowers. So here are two examples of some green cities. Ojai and Pasadena are two major cities that have made the switch to clean energy. Both were managed by the American Green Zone Alliance and took the necessary steps provided by AGSA to make the full transition. So I just like to say again, we have the resources, and I was actually up in Ojai last weekend, and I went to go see the park that has been transformed by the American Green Zone Alliance, and it is beautiful. I love it there. And I can hang out without having to move for, the stores, So I think that's just a great thing to have, especially because I feel like if you're in Calabasas, you're here for a reason. It's beautiful here. You don't want to constantly be disrupted. So in the meantime, let's slow pollution down. In order to get our foot in the door prior to the total ban, Calabasas could instill mandatory smog checks on residential as well as commercial garden equipment. The one thing we wish not to happen is to end up with an ordinance that does not effectively better the environment. So I know that there are some other cities that have time restrictions. Sort of there's like a window where you can use the blowers and the other stores, but it's not particularly effective in regards to the environment. So I want to talk about a little bit about the South Coast Air Quality Management District trade-in program. Currently, they are providing over 70% off in rebates for trading in gas-powered equipment. Currently, this offer is only valid for commercial companies, but we would love to see them available for everyone. This is just something that to consider in the future if we want to offer these rebates. Lastly, here is an amazing example of something called a mobile air quality monitoring and mapping fleet. Something like this in Calabasas will provide live updates that can eventually enable us to tackle local air quality problems at the root. So as you can see here, there's a map, and basically these fleets will just go through and it will give live updates of how the air quality is in different sections of the neighborhood or wherever you're going. And I think this would be great because then you know exactly where the issue is. And yeah. I would like to end by restating that the climate crisis is a real crisis and should not be taken lightly. We need to act now so that we don't have to pay later. My generation asks you to take the needed steps towards cleaning and curbing the climate crisis. Air pollution is the leading cause of global warming and should be consistently a top priority. We must do everything we can to make sure that we can just ensure that, obviously my generation, ones in the future, can still call Calabasas like a beautiful place to call home, still call like the whole, Southern California. So our push towards taking these combustion powered engines off the market and the land has happened now. And yeah, so here's just some examples of the electrical equipment that would be great to switch to. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Here's a little man skyrocketing to zero emissions, and this is what we're asking for. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Maggie. And commissioners, if you're okay to take some questions. Yeah, Maggie?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so Susan?
That was an excellent presentation, Maggie, and I looked over it prior to you presenting it tonight, and I was really shocked to see how much emissions these SOARS equipment puts out. It's hard for me to believe that you can run a gas-powered blower and it's putting out more pollutants than driving a car so many miles. Is it because these pieces of equipment lack any type of emission equipment on them at all? And that's the difference between driving an automobile?
I think it really depends on the equipment that you buy. There is not any sort of, there's nothing on the engines to sort of regulate those emissions that I know, especially with the older ones and the two-stroke ones. So yeah, there's
nothing on like gas blowers or lawnmowers or anything like that. And do they not require that an ATV have any kind of emissions equipment on it? These are all burning the same thing that a car burns in gasoline, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So there's nothing on any of this piece of equipment for emission control?
There is, I believe, two-stroke that will, for the emission control. Yes, I believe that's right. The two-stroke engines. But I do think that is very crazy as well. And with the push for electric cars and all that, Tesla and all these new people coming out, or all these new companies coming out with these electric cars, I think it's crazy how there's been no attention brought to this. Oh, I was just informed that they're called carburetors. That is what they're called, that are on the small off-road engines, but it is not, obviously, you can see the statistics and the chart that it's not exactly doing much. So yeah.
So Maggie, I do have two questions, because one is our city might feel like it's hard to enforce this ban. So the cities that have already done it, you said some have restrictions and some have a ban. Did they go directly to the ban, do you know, right away? And with the restrictions, or did they start with the restrictions then go to the ban? And how are they enforcing it in these cities like Pasadena and Ojai?
I believe, well, Pasadena and Ojai, I don't think that, actually, Pasadena and Ojai is I'm not sure how they did the, like, it's just the parks and the, and
shared space, city space.
Like sort of greenified and all that, but
okay, that does seem a lot easier to start.
Yeah, of course. And I believe that Santa Monica had about a year to sort of move and transition towards this, because obviously, this is not something that will just happen overnight.
And then my second question is, do you know if there's some form of rebate or aid when you turn in a gas SOAR and get more of an electrical one? Is there some type of assistance financially?
Yeah, so the South Coast Air Quality Management District currently is offering rebates.
What
but
did you
it
call it?
only-
South Coast what?
The South Coast Air Quality Management District.
Okay, air quality. Mm-hmm.
So they're currently offering rebates, but it's only for commercial companies. And so what
Oh, is that what you mean? Yeah.
we're thinking the foundation is to sort of push so that it's more accessible to everyone. And obviously that pie chart right there is very evident that it's not the commercial blowers and stores that are the issue, it's the residential ones. So we're hoping to push for that to make sure that these communities can have access to them as well.
Great. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions if I can.
Please.
Okay, so I just want to understand. So Ojai and South Pasadena, or Pasadena, has only a shared space ordinance in place, or residential ordinance as well?
Oh, I was so Ojai and Pasadena have had help by the American Green Zone Alliance to transform their people hired like on a commercial level, and for these parks, and the people that they hire are now only using electric small off-road engines.
Okay, so it doesn't extend to actual residences or residential use at
I
this
believe
point?
in Ojai, it does, but I only know that because I'm not sure about Pasadena, but I do know that in Ojai, that's what.
Okay, and so so there are no case studies as to what their successes or lack of or challenges were in implementing it. It just would be interesting to understand how another small city, or I mean, Pasadena is a larger city, handled it. That's okay. That kind of information, we can get back to. On the commercial rebate for, does that include small landscaping companies? Would they qualify under that?
That is the issue. I believe that must be some loophole or something, but I do believe that they can. It just really depends, but for the most part, I think that they can get those rebates.
Okay. And then my final question is, so the research that you do is only for these small piece of equipment. Have you done any research on heavy equipment and earth moving equipment, asphalt moving equipment, that type of thing in terms of emissions? Do you do that?
We have only done research on the small off-road engines, like the equipment shown.
Okay, that was all my questions. Thank you.
I do want to say though, if I can send it to you later, I know that American Green Zone Alliance offered an impact report for Pasadena, and basically just showing how they were impacted by the switch.
Yes, please, you can send us anything. That would be great. Okay, any other questions before we let Maggie go?
I don't have a question, but I just have a comment. Maggie came to one of our CALP meetings. It's the Climate Action Leadership Program for LVSD. And I just want to commend her for, really being dedicated to this issue. I mean, she's been working on it for many months. I don't know if it's been years, but since the CALP meeting, it's been many months. And I think it was a really informative presentation, and I learned a lot today. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
So that moves us on to agenda item number 3, which is a recommendation to the City Council regarding the proposed ban. So this is our time to discuss what we want to do for our recommendation. My initial idea would be to start with the public shared space. I mean, that seems like something we could try in our parks. What are you guys thinking? Whitney?
I think that you got to just be extreme and say goodbye and out. That's what I think. That's
so
just
hard.
Wrong. It's awful. It's just like plastic straws. And oh, we live in a luxury community. People could, the collective amount of money these gardeners are making in these gated communities, they could get paid to go get the equipment that they have to use while they're here. And they shouldn't have a ciggy break while they do it. That's what I think.
But that brings us to enforcing it, which is, from what Alex has said, our city
Get a
doesn't.
ticket. You get a ticket.
Okay. Yeah.
You make it where you don't do it. And if your gardeners are using them, they can't. They can't. You just stop it. You can't. You got to just be extreme. That's what I think.
Good. It's good to know what we think.
I agree.
I'm sorry, there are two considerations for the commissioners to think about. One is the enforcement. There are 9,000 homes in Calabasas. If this ban expands to all homes, the city does not have the resources to enforce it. So that will be one issue. The second issue is that there is an assembly bill being circulated in Sacramento called Assembly Bill 1346 that is going to ban small off-road engines effective January of 2022. So, I mean, the bill is going to be effective, but it's going to go into effect from July 1st, 2022. So in 1 year, we are going to see a phasing out of those engines from landscape industry. So these two considerations are important for the commissioners to think about before making a recommendation.
I'll just say that 9,000 homes divided by how many are behind gates. Okay, if the majority of the houses are behind gates, they're with homeowners associations, and the homeowners associations going to establish the rules. I think it's a lot easier than not, because so many of our houses are behind gates and with rules of homeowners. So that's again what I think.
I completely agree with that. And I think that, you know, the commercial people are getting the 70% discount on their trade-ins, and the homeowners associations can kick them a little extra money. I mean, this is an extremely affluent city. So, you know, giving some landscaper $100 to comply is really not beyond anyone.
I think the problem with that, though, is that our city doesn't have any say over the homeowner boards. We can't go there, correct, Alex? Like, I had this issue with rodenticide.
Why even worry about it? Just like pass the ordinance, and like, we don't have to go out and police everyone. I mean, we can let people know, and if there's like a super big problem in an area that the city has jurisdiction over, they can go in and say, hey, it's a problem, because it also is like, we're in a high fire zone, high fire zone. So I feel like I agree with Whitney that we should just bite the bullet, pass the ordinance, and just, you know, let everything catch up. I mean, it's not like we have to send the police out to enforce it, you know, every leaf blower and send, you know, cite every single person, but at least we can get started.
I do agree. I mean, I think it'd be nice. And I think the homeowners have their security that goes around that could help enforce it, but I don't think we have any say over that, even if we make it.
So I think that there's another viewpoint that has not been brought to our commission, and I absolutely am interested in protecting our environment and doing the utmost that we can to do that. However, we're only seeing one side of this, and I think it's important to, when we have a presentation, when we have an issue brought to the commission, that we see the other side of this. And I'm not saying the other side of using them. I think that there is a component here of homeowners, HOAs, and other interested potential businesses that need to have some sort of ability to speak publicly and bring it to some sort of a hearing. This is what we should be doing, because although many people live behind gates. Most of the people on the west side of the city do not. And most of us have small HOAs. I'm a former president of an HOA, and spending more money on landscaping is an issue in order to provide the services that were required. And I'm not saying that we wouldn't get to the point where we could do something like this. I just feel like there's not enough information to give a recommendation at this point. I think that it's missing the other side. And I think that anytime anything's brought to the commission and then brought to the council, we should see all sides of who's affected and the impacts. And I mean, it's interesting that these other cities have had help, and I would like to know what that help looks like. And I don't think we can't get there. I just think that we need to get there the right way.
So we have
That's
2
my
minutes
feeling.
left for our discussion. Yeah. So if anyone wants to respond.
Okay,
But,
I'm gonna make-
to
I'm
answer
gonna make
your
a comment.
question, Beth
I'll
had a
make-
question about the difference between this ordinance and anticoagulant rodenticide. Rodenticide was a resolution. It was not an ordinance. That's why we cannot enforce it. But if the city council chooses to adopt an ordinance
Oh, that's good.
banning this, then it becomes a citywide ban. Yes,
Okay,
there's a difference. Yes.
I see. I think Susan, you're about to say something.
Oh, yeah, and I'll try to make it quick. While I agree with everything that everyone has said in theory, and I live in a gated community, I mean, we were down playing tennis and all these men came into the little park setting and they're smoking cigars, and I had to go over there and tell them that that wasn't allowed, and they gave me some pushback on that, and I'm thinking, well, should I call the security? And we have speeders in our community constantly, and we pay the sheriff's department $750 a month to tag the speeders, and it's not enough. I mean, everything comes down to enforcement. And if people think they can get away with it, they're going to get away with it. And I kind of agree with Alex that having state legislation on this is probably going to be more efficient and more comprehensive in the long run than having a city ordinance. I know my own gardener does a number of houses in Calabasas, but he does ones in Canoga Park and other non-gated communities too. So where he's not required to have any, an electric blower instead of a gas one. Now I agree with this, and we ourselves own electric power and electric blower, but it's going to cost something for all these little individual businesses to transfer over to
Right.
electric.
And also, you brought up enforcement, and I wanted to say something. What ends up happening with HOAs is an HOA ends up becoming the gatekeeper of these types of situations, and that's tough. And if Alex's opinion email that came out yesterday, kind of cited, how do we enforce this with so many people? And I think that HOAs should be part of the conversation, because they're going to have the residents contacting them to enforce these things. So there's more to this, and I think we can get there. I just think we need more input.
So our time is up, but at that, what we can do is create a subcommittee to further discuss this and learn more and get more prepared on it.
Could I add one little thing?
Yeah.
So I'm just worried that there's going to be big pushback if we start immediately just banning all SOARs. And I really think that the best enforcement that we could have from the beginning is just support for the program. And so I think through education at the beginning, maybe through just starting with a ban on like city management with regard to city gardening and stuff that happens at City Hall and the green belts throughout Calabasas. I think that might be a good start. And then eventually, as more people support it through our education work that we can then add, then the state will hopefully pass a complete SOAR ban. So gradually people will be able to support it more. I mean, especially with regard to city council, because I know right now many members of city council are always considering the economic toll that COVID-19 has had on the residents of Calabasas. And it may be hard for some people to buy new lawnmower equipment just because we made an ordinance like that saying they have to buy it. So I think city council and citizens of Calabasas will just have more support for the program if it's a gradual rollout.
Thank you, Zachary. So what I heard from us saying was kind of, we have some options. We can, as we vote, say that we're not ready to present this to the City of Calabasas. We can make a subcommittee, and we can also maybe make a motion to start this ban in our local parks or shared spaces. Did I miss anything? Okay.
Creating a subcommittee would be very helpful to, as JC said, we need to look at various aspects of this ordinance and be able to probably communicate with a few landscaping company, get their feedback, communicate with a few homeowners association, see how they feel about it, and talk with other cities that have similar or somehow similar ban to get their input. It's not a quick act, but I think we need to educate ourselves before making a full recommendation to the city. There is no rush. We can wait to another meeting and let a subcommittee evaluate pros and cons of this kind of ordinances and come back in September with a very educated recommendation.
Okay. So let's definitely start a subcommittee, and we can form that now. It would have only 2 commissioners, and it can have student commissioners and access. So would anyone like to start that subcommittee?
Go on. I'll be on it.
I'll be on it.
Okay, I knew you were going to say that, JC.
I thought so too. So JC and
I'm happy to, I have a whole list of questions. I mean, I could certainly help, formulate what we plan to do. So yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you both for stepping up. And with that, we had that option of, we should take a vote in either way if we're going to make a recommendation to ban it. So let's just start with the generic. Are we going to make a recommendation? And then we'll vote on that, and then we'll go into the local city parks or something one.
I think the consensus was to create a subcommittee so the subcommittee can come back in September with a recommendation.
You think? Because I thought Marlene and Whitney were like, let's do this, but we don't need to.
We can continue this item to September and then make a recommendation.
Okay, that's a long time in the sense of we could be doing stuff, but Whitney, do you want to?
I'm not interested in being on that committee.
For sure.
My feelings are far too intense, and I'm not into I think that Maggie's presentation was alarming. Okay?
We should do change now.
Wake up and be extreme. So I'm too high voltage for this.
I want to vote to ban them too.
All right. Well, so we're not taking a vote. It was just more a recommendation to the city council.
Oh yeah, I want to recommend. Yeah, I think we're going into like too much thinking. I think.
Can I ask a question, since I'm a newbie on this commission? Yes. Are we allowed to communicate with each other, or we can only do it as a group on a night we have a commission meeting? I mean, could we collect this data, JC and I, and have a meeting in July or June and say, hey, this is what we found out. Do we want to move forward with presenting something to the city council?
Especially because you guys are on the subcommittee. Yes, you can meet.
Okay.
And you can communicate any way you want. You can either meet or in person or via Zoom or by phone call, by email.
Okay.
All forms of communication within the subcommittee is allowed and authorized.
Okay.
We just can't all gather in person and chat, unfortunately.
So we can't call a special meeting off calendar?
We can if it would be a special meeting and it would be recorded, but not publicly televised. We've done that in the past.
Okay. I'm not saying that, I'm trying to understand the process.
Those are nice, yeah. We've done that once since I've been on the commission. It was really nice.
If there is an urgent matter, we can hold a special meeting. If, for example, July or August, but the next scheduled meeting is September.
Right. Well, my own feeling is I'd like to gather more information on this and what the other cities like Pasadena and Ojai have implemented it and how that's rolling out. And then, but I do think that waiting till September to pick it up again might be a little late for some of us because who would like to see this move along quicker. So maybe JC and I can collect some data and then reach out to the other commissioners and see if we can do something. Does that sound okay to you, JC?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, with the 3-month window between meetings is
So long.
difficult.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, you lose continuity a little bit in what's happening. And yeah, some of these things are urgent. And yes, so let's see what we can pull together and then we'll take it from there.
And I don't want Maggie to think that we listened attentively and then did nothing.
Mhm.
Right. So Alex, another procedural question. When would the staff be involved in information gathering for things that we are looking at to recommend to the council? Is that after we would recommend it to the council, or is any of that done in advance of our recommendation?
Both ways. We can either help. I'm the only one here, so I don't have any assistant anymore. So I can help you any way I can.
Okay.
Shoot me an email, request a specific information. I will be happy to help.
Okay.
Most information is online or communicate
Right.
directly with AQMD or other cities or agencies, or even assembly members or senators. They can help. So any information would be helpful, but if you need my help, I'll be happy to help.
Okay. All right. And just to clarify, in your email yesterday, you said that the Senate bill is up for vote. It has not been voted on yet, right?
No, it's in the committee. I just spoke with, this afternoon, I spoke with AQMD. They told me that their committee is reviewing and doing the final tuning, and it's going to be going to the floor very soon, but they don't have a date yet.
Just clarifying for the record.
But definitely, I will put you in touch with AQMD as well. They can fill you in with more details.
Okay, yeah, sure. If you have a contact over there, that would be helpful.
Yes, sure.
Great, good. So we have a vision and purpose here. Thank you. Okay, so now we get to recognize Jessica Cohen. She is our outgoing student commissioner. On to new things. So Jessica, maybe, did you want to say something? Tell us where you're going next year, what your major is, anything like that? We'd love to hear.
Yeah, so next year I will be going to Cornell University, and I'll be majoring in biological sciences with the concentration in either marine biology or ecology. And I'm also hoping to minor in film, which is completely unrelated, but it's a major interest of mine. But it was really an honor getting to work with you guys. I know we probably weren't able to accomplish what would happen in a normal year given the circumstances, but I really learned a lot, and it's definitely helped me with knowing what I can do to make a change. I mean, locally and globally when it comes to the environment and environmental conservation.
That's amazing. Congrats. And film can help you spread the message more, right? We can make more.
Yeah, maybe some kind of environmental documentary or animal rights activism documentary.
That's very exciting, Cornell. Congratulations. I love working with you. I love how you always were willing to volunteer and step up for any subcommittee. I think you sat on every single one. And I just wish you the best of luck. It's so exciting. Your future's out there. So
I'd like to also say that just like Beth said, you really showed up. I feel like I connected with you with how many times you participated in our meetings and subcommittees more than other student commissioners. You're definitely an extraordinary young girl, and you've really done a lot of amazing things with your life so far. And getting into Cornell is an absolutely extraordinary accomplishment. So we basically had one of the most finest students be in our company during this past year. And I truly look forward to seeing what happens in your future. So I hope you keep us posted.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So with Jessica leaving and the end of a term, that brings us to selecting our future candidates for student members. So we have 2 applications and both of you are here. So Zachary, do you want to start us off with a little bit about yourself? We know you well, but not all the commissioners do, and your vision and everything.
Sure, yeah, I prepared a little speech because I know I don't know all of you super well yet. So I wanted to give you guys some background. So good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all again, albeit online. Things are improving. I think hopefully soon we'll be able to go back to normal, we'll be able to meet in person, hold our regular events, and that should be really a lot of fun. I'm grateful to have built such good relationships with you, Beth and Whitney, but I know that many of you are new and I haven't yet connected fully. So I want to really give some background on who I am, what my experience with environmentalism is. So my name is Zachary Rossoff. I'm a rising senior at Calabasas High School, where I've gotten straight A's in both honors and AP courses thus far. Before CHS, I attended school locally at Bay Laurel Elementary School and AC Stell Middle School. At Calabasas High, I'm part of the National Honor Society, the California Scholarship Federation, and I am a recipient of the Golden Coyote Award for volunteer service, many hours of which were done through the Roots and Shoots Club at Calabasas High, the Foster Children's Resource Center, and volunteer tutoring. I like to stay informed about current events locally, nationally, and globally. After seeing politicians make harmful decisions about our environment, I realized I'm passionate about nature and have a desire to make a difference. I want to work on making sure my generation will continue to enjoy all that nature has to offer. And I understand that in order to do so, I need to take an active role in helping our community continue to improve its environmental impact. As a result, over the years, I've ensured that my family has been involved in the city's environmental programs, beginning when I was in the Indian Guides. Years before joining the Environmental Commission, I had been speaking with David Cohen, who I think is actually here tonight. He's a former commissioner who really sparked my interest in helping the community, and he was one of the reasons I ran 2 years ago. I'm grateful to have already served 2 years on this commission, and it's given me the chance so early in my career to be a change maker in the community. Since joining the commission, I'm proud to say that I have stepped up and become even more active with environmental work. This year, even during a pandemic, we were still able to hold the lid lock subcommittee, Whitney, Jessica, and me. We are currently investigating the use of anticoagulant rodenticides in Calabasas and their correlation with trash can malpractice. Hopefully, by next fall, we will have gathered enough information. Jessica will be at college, but we will be presenting all of our findings and our proposed solutions to combat this truly devastating global environmental issue. Also, I worked with Beth and Jessica on the backyard beekeeping ordinance subcommittee, and I was able to talk at the city council meeting in support of the Clean Power Alliance's 100% green power default, which we got passed. In previous years, I have manned the booth at the Pumpkin Festival, served on the subcommittee to create an environmental forum, picked the winners of the Calabasas Recycling Drawing Contest, which happened this year too, and I helped plant at Bay Laurel as part of Arbor Day. In addition to my work on the commission, I am also the elected secretary of the Mayor's Youth Council, and I'm an environmental subcommittee member. This is a Calabasas organization that is allowing the voices of the youth in our city to be heard. This year, as we touched on before, I helped plan the Arbor Day celebration and creek cleanup. We had such a great turnout. Many of you were there, and I was really happy to see you all. And we really did a good job beautifying the city. In addition to those events, I also helped create Instagram posts for our Earth Week. The 2 I created were about the significance of Earth Day and about the dangers of anticoagulant rodenticides. Also, as part of Las Virgenes Unified School District, I am the president of the Roots and Shoots Club at Calabasas High. We got so much done even though we were online this year. As part of my commitment to reducing anticoagulant rodenticides, I led the club in building owl boxes from scratch, and owl boxes are basically just like birdhouses, but for owls. And CHS actually helped us install them on campus. And so because they serve as natural rodent repellents, the district is even having all anticoagulant rodenticides on all campuses. They've all been removed, which is a huge victory for the anticoagulant rodenticide crusade. I also spoke at an LVSD Facilities Committee meeting quite recently, actually, to lobby for the installation of a sign on CHS's trail. Basically, last year we had installed drip irrigation and planted native flora, but many students still called it by an inappropriate name. And so I lobbied at the LVSD meeting, and they actually agreed to pay for a new sign on the trail. We're going to be calling it the Coyote Trail because our mascot is the coyote. I thought it fit pretty well. We had like a club vote on it. And it should be installed by the end of the year. They're building it right now. In addition to Roots and Shoots, I am part of Las Virgenes Unified School District's Climate Action Leadership Program, also known as CALP. It's led by Victoria Charles, who is a professor of sustainability. Right now, we're working on compiling a sustainability report for LVSD, and we're also creating programs to get the younger students of LVSD interested and conscious about the environment. I'm excited to see what next year has in store, as I hope to be able to continue my work as a student commissioner on the Environmental Commission. I'm ready to continue working hard on current commission projects that I'm involved in, and to continue thinking creatively for environmental commission events, as I've done for my past 2 terms. Thank you so much for giving me this time, and I'm excited to see what we'll get to work on together as part of the Environmental Commission next year.
Thank you, Zachary. So now's our chance as commissioners to ask Zachary any questions we have. If anyone.
What are you planning on majoring in college?
Yeah, I'm probably environmental science, but I mean, I could go anywhere. I like math, science, history. It depends really. Maybe undecided even. I'm not sure.
All right. Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zachary, for all your work on the commission. You're a nonstop environmental superhero. You're really absolutely amazing, and everything you do, you give 100%. And I'm totally impressed with you, and everything you just said was really impressive. So
thank you.
It's absolutely inspiring. All right, any other questions? All right, we will move on to our next student applicant, Lila. You'll have your time to present, and then we'll ask you questions, and then we'll vote after. So welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, commission members. My name is Lila Guillory, and I'm excited to apply to serve on the Environmental Commission for the City of Calabasas. I'll begin by telling you a little bit about myself and why I feel like I have the passion and the qualifications to make a real contribution to the commission's work. I was born and raised in Calabasas and am currently a sophomore, like a rising junior, at Calabasas High School. I've attended neighborhood LVUSD school since kindergarten and have been a committed Girl Scout for 11 years now. I'm a member of the National Honor Society and a member of CHS's varsity cheer and stunt competition teams. Through my Girl Scout troop and the Calabasas community in general, I've been involved in multiple environmental projects, including the Medea Creek cleanup, beautification efforts at Bay Laurel, a fundraising and supply gathering effort for the California Wildlife Center, and my Silver Ward project, which focused on hiking and safety in the outdoors. I've also participated over the years in Earth Day events at Las Virgenes Creek, as well as Arbor Day celebrations with the City of Calabasas. I won the City of Calabasas Recycling Youth Art Contest Award in 5th grade for my work to illustrate how recycling can help our world. And I also gave an oral testimony to the City of Calabasas, the council, in support of the successful vote to ensure the 100% clean energy default level for Calabasas. I belong to a couple local environmental groups, and I recently joined the CHS chapter of Roots and Shoots and participated in one of their cleanup efforts at the high school. I'm also excited to further my studies in this area through a pre-college environmental sciences course at Brown University this summer, and I'm enrolled for next year in AP Environmental Science at the high school as well. For my Girl Scout Award, Gold Award, which is the highest honor a Girl Scout can achieve, I would like to choose a project that will benefit the environment, and I want to work with the resources of the Commission to ensure a successful project. The Gold Award requires you to find the need in your community and fill it with a sustainable solution. I have several potential ideas in mind for my project that I would like to discuss with the Commission and would like to get started on over the summer. One involves fire prevention planning for residents. Another involves implementation and education for residents regarding the 100% default energy level. The other is a volunteer and potential local business sponsored effort to beautify some areas of Calabasas where city funds might not be available. And I'm happy to discuss my ideas about these projects further if you have questions. In closing, I want to thank the Commission for the opportunity to apply for this position of public service for the Calabasas community. I've always admired our city's commitment to the environment, and I would be very grateful for the opportunity to serve on the Commission. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Lila. It's exciting to meet you and hear all about what you do. I'm a troop leader, a Daisy troop leader at this point, so it's exciting to see you've stuck with it all this time and done really good things. So anyone have any questions for Lila?
I'd just like to say that I think you did a really lovely presentation. I know that 11 years in scouting really has taught you some incredible life skills and has taught you how to really take on projects that will make a difference, be it your final project or all the ones you've been involved with this far. And we've got two really great students who are doing a lot of important things in the world, and it's going to, continue to measure in our community and ripple out. So regardless of what happens with you or Zachary, you both have what it takes to make differences in our community and in the world. So I'm grateful for both of you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, so that brings us to our voting then. Alex, usually we don't vote publicly, correct, for this one?
You can. I mean, since we have only 2 applicants, we can make a nomination and a motion and second it and then vote.
So I'd like to make a motion to elect Zachary Rossoff to be our student member for next year. Does anyone
want to second it?
I'll second that one.
Thank you. And we can have some discussion now if anyone wants. Okay. All in favor, you can raise your hand, say aye.
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 Susan, Whitney, JC, Beth, and Marlene. Okay, so Zachary is approved by all. Welcome, Zachary. And then I'd like to make a motion to elect Lila to be our alternate student member for next year on the Environmental Commission. Can someone second that, please?
I would like to second that, and what an awesome commission we're going to have.
I know. Any discussion other than what an awesome commission we'll have? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so Susan, Whitney, JC, Beth, and Marlene. There you go. Welcome, Lila. We're excited to have you on board. Thank you. We'll be in touch. And welcome.
Thank you.
All right, our meeting is moving on to the selection of chair and vice chair, so a little more elections. So as far as chair and vice chair, the chair's job is what I've done this year, and it's to lead the meetings and to be the liaison between Alex and the commission. Just kind of take on that role of connecting everyone and making sure everyone can get the information they need. The vice chair is basically going to assist if the chair isn't here and will then be the chair the following year. So those are the roles. And I'm not sure if anyone would like to be any of those positions. We can have a little discussion. We have 10 minutes here, if that sounds interesting to anyone.
Or if there is any nomination.
Or if there's any direct nominations.
Yes.
I would like to nominate Beth to be the chair. I think she did an amazing job this year, but there's a real treat to be in the City Hall building and enjoy that experience with the gavel. And so that's my nomination.
Thank you, Whitney. Anyone else want to think about doing anything? It sounds exciting.
Do you accept the nomination?
Oh, I'm sorry. I do accept your nomination, Whitney.
Anybody want to second it?
I'll second it.
Well, thank you. What about vice chair? Does it sound interesting to anyone?
Let's take a vote first.
Oh, you want to do chair first? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to vote for chair for the Environmental Commission.
I second that.
Aye.
Or I say yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I hope to do a good job for everyone.
I have a question.
Yes,
So we're voting on this. Does this take effect then in September?
correct. Yeah. Maybe we'll be back in City Hall by then.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Is everybody vaccinated?
Mhm.
All right. Anyway,
So on to vice chair. Is that of interest to anyone? I can nominate you. JC, maybe you.
Nominate
I'll
anybody?
consider it.
I'll nominate Susan Frederick Plassard for your vice chair position.
All right.
Right. And then I know JC was a little interested as well.
Yes, I just was was brought up as a name earlier. I mean, I yield to Susan if she has the time and would like to participate in that way. If not, I'd be happy to do it.
Are you a new member of the commission too, JC?
I am.
Okay. All right. So then this wouldn't come up again until like next June, correct? Okay.
I suppose. Yeah.
All right. Well, I only stepped in because I didn't think anybody else was, but if you think that you would prefer to have the position, I'm fine with it too. And I'm looking forward to working with you on the subcommittee.
So are you yielding your
I'm yielding to you.
need? Okay. I'm happy to do it. I don't know what all is entailed, but Beth, I am sure that you will provide me with the information. And if you guys are okay with it, I put my name in there, in the hat.
Okay, so I nominate JC to be vice chair for next year.
Anybody want to second
I'll
it?
second that one. I'll second the nomination for JC.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great.
All right, you got me.
Yay. All right, so with that, we'll adjourn this meeting. It concludes the Environmental Commission meeting.
Can I didn't know we didn't get to make closing comments. I just want to bring up one thing administratively, now that I'm the vice chair, or I would be. I would like to request that meeting minutes are delivered within a week or two of our meetings versus having them delivered at a week before or 3 months from now. I just feel like there's a lot going on and I'd like to have an opportunity to have some context. I don't know what the process is, but in my professional life, minutes are delivered within a week. So is that, Alex, is that something that we could move toward doing?
I can communicate that to the person who is preparing the summary. Just to give you an explanation, this is not a minutes. This is just a meeting summary. So minutes are the videos that are available on city's website all the time. So that constitutes a minutes. All we provide is the summary of the meeting. It doesn't have details as you.
It's confusing because we approve the minutes of the meeting.
Right.
So
we approve meeting summaries. If you look at the agenda, it says meeting summary.
Yeah. I just think that at some point it would be having the physical recap. I mean, I appreciate that the video's there. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, welcome Lila and JC. I'm glad to have you as a vice chair. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Happy Mother's Day.
You know.
Good night.